Justin, thank you so much for agreeing to this.
Thank you for having me.
You are such a badass. I wanted some explanation on the duty show, but is that like a real cool thing?
Is what I call is doing the
Duty show. That's what it's called.
Duty show. Yes, it is a real thing.
I mean, is it like a cool, comedian thing?
I think it kind of is. I think it's kind of almost like a rite of passage in a way. Like, I feel like for whatever reason, like, comedians have more anxiety, which I think also means more digestive and bowel issues. So I think, there's a high comorbidity there. So I think it's very relatable, yes, to be in the comedy world and
yes. For my listeners, I told Justin before we started recording that I was so flattered that he agreed to be on my show. And then when I searched his name, I came up with Duty Show. I was like, he went on our show and talked about taking a shit. So, but good for you, but good for whatever. Anyway, so I was curious because I only listened to your episode and only the first half. And then my husband was like, no, we're not listening to another story.
That's fair. I mean, you kind of get it. I mean, it's at a certain point, it's diminishing returns with shitting. So
I sort of agree. And like, how is there a whole show? But I mean, the guys are very funny. And so I understand. I'm not familiar with their work yet, but yes, but thank you. So, Justin, you are a writer on Superstore, which is America Ferrera, and other people I'm blanking on at the moment, but it's a great show. It is. And because I also watched a few episodes before I listened to the shitting episode.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I'm very fortunate to be on a returning show right now and be working and all that. It's nice. We just started production this past week, actually. So, it's possible that we find out tomorrow that the entire cast and crew has COVID, but I'm hoping that didn't happen and that we're able to continue making it, because that would be nice.
That is exactly how I feel about school. But I am literally watching like the New York forward.gov website, with more intensity than I did fantasy football, but I am watching the stats the same way. Sure. I am like, go up and shut the fuck down, because I'm,
Well, New York's doing it, right? Like, my nephew's on Long Island, and I know he started physical school this week, So
it depends. Is he more out east, like Suffolk?
He's at the border of Nassau and Suffolk.
Fine. So I'm not asking for, but he, I don't want anyone stalking your nephew, obviously, but so my kids, okay, my kids, so we're in Nassau on the South Shore, and ours, we were given a choice of it was like hell yes, being full in person, and then don't want to commit yet, being like hybrid, and then full remote, which is me, because I'm a shrink. I got into this field because I'm fucked up, so my kids are staying home because it's 2020 and what if. And so we're doing full remote, and most days, so my office, my one kid is in that room, one kid is in that room, and I have to spy on them every few minutes. So
do you take turns teaching them, or
no? My husband is also a shrink and a lawyer, and he's an essential employee, and so he goes to work. And I spent the summer running away from my feelings and working excessively from home. And then it didn't work anymore, the running from my feelings. And so booze, but it's cool because
we do what we can.
Yeah, it was prom dress Friday yesterday for 9/11. But whatever, it was bizarre. But it was fun, and it was Twitter feed basically, and I got to post about it.
The 9/11 was a coincidence, or it was related to?
It was kind of related because I was like, I don't want to remember right now. And I mean no disrespect, but I graduated I started graduate school in 2001, and I moved from DC to New York. And so my first date with my husband was September 9th, 2001. And then, right. And so the next time I saw him was graduate school, and I was consumed with the fact that I had made out with this guy in my 5-year program, and much like law school, like you're stuck with the same people for 3 to 5 years. And so I was very, that was what I was thinking about. And then I got to school and they're like, here's a television. I don't know why everyone felt the need to show us this, but like, here's a television, the world's ending. So I didn't want to think about it this year. It's been a shitty enough weird world.
Yeah, it took on a weird tone this year, just because, not that it's like less tragic, like relative to Corona, but just like when you're talking
numerically,
about, like coming up on like 200,000 dead Americans, and the country is just kind of like moving ahead, like it, like doesn't matter, like let the chips fall where they may, and sucks if you get it and die. And then to be memorializing this thing where 3,000 people died, which is happening, like every
day, week, month,
days here, like. It's just strange. It's just like, oh yeah, remember when like this mattered, like thousands of Americans dying, like remember when this is a big deal? And like, obviously there was always like a cinematic quality to 9/11. Like it's a good story, which is like, I think why part of the reason why this country was so obsessed with it and why it had such a huge impact on us for decades. But it's just bizarre this year given the context.
That was my thought too, and it was like it's a numbers thing, but not a numbers thing. It's like people have died, and then and it's also like we're never going to forget it. And if you weren't there and alive and like conscious and cognizant, which I ran out of characters on Twitter, obviously, when I tried to express this, but like if you weren't there for it, like it's tough to explain. And I still don't think my kids who are 9 and 11 understand,
Sure.
And my daughter's elementary school actually attempted to have an assembly with this whole school and all the classes and like this is one of these ones where like the one thing I feel very fortunate about is that I started my podcast 1.5 years ago. We moved to Zoom as soon as someone explained the idea of sound quality to us, because we were recording on a cell phone on speaker. It was really awful.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we were dumb. But so I feel like we have the upper hand with like, oh, this is how we work things. And like, so now I can help my kids. But yesterday's 9/11 assembly was painful because they couldn't get all the kids to turn off the speakers or to mute themselves. And then they didn't explain, I guess the teachers haven't figured out how to mute all the kids. And so all of a sudden it was like being in like a rave with like the sounds that were coming out of the computer. My daughter's like, you gotta come in here, it's crazy. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And she's like, I don't know.
It's just like a full Skrillex song.
It was a mess.
That's my most to date sort of like techno house music reference.
Fine. I've got nothing. I wasn't cool. No, I went to a rave once and it was weird and awkward and and I discovered ecstasy doesn't work on me. So there you go.
I want to say that's unfortunate having never done ecstasy myself, but I imagine. I mean, I having the option.
I didn't do it for like, I don't know how to, I didn't do it for like let's get sexually adventurous. And yet when the people I was with were like, hey, come join us. I was like, no, like you're ugly and I don't know. So that was my fun time, my one fun time. And with like the one alternative person I met at Georgetown. Wasn't really a story. You still didn't go to Georgetown. Common misunderstanding.
I didn't go to Georgetown. I could. There's still a chance.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's
probably love.
But at Penn, you have Jews, which is good.
Yes, you have so many Jews.
So many Jews. I was
thinking too many, which I'm allowed to say. It sounds weird from non-Jews to say that, but
no.
Yes.
Well, you're half. You can do it. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
But did you do the fraternity route, by the way?
I did. It's so weird. It just kind of was like foisted upon me. And then before I knew it was happening, I was in a fraternity, which is strange because like I'm not a fraternity type. Like, like I was in the marching band in high school.
It's UPenn. Everyone was in the marching band in high school. I promise you.
Yes. It is an incredibly dorky school, where everyone thinks they're so much cooler than they are.
Yes.
But even still, like, I didn't think that Greek life was for me, but I had a friend who I did Model UN with.
Of course you did. Of course you
all
did.
tracking, yes. And he was in the fraternity, and I started just going to a bunch of their parties, and then one day they were like, "Oh, like you're in the fraternity," and I was like, "What? Wait, what? What do you? What
You
are you
didn't have
talking
to
about?"
rush or pledge or something?
Well, we had there's no hazing in my fraternity, but there was an initiation ceremony.
What's your fraternity?
It was called Lambda Chi Alpha. It was a Christian
That
fraternity.
is not a Jew fraternity, because I know
No,
the
it
Jew.
was not a Jew fraternity.
I can't remember the name of it, but my 4-year long distance relationship was at UPenn while I was at Georgetown, and
Oh, wow.
it's okay. Apparently, we were
Sorry to hear that.
no, it's okay. We were at a bar mitzvah, like one of the,
Uh-huh.
like a common friends. So 2 people from my high school went to, my boyfriend and this other guy, and then the other guy's now married to his college girlfriend, and then she and I had met while I was dating, this guy's name was Jordan, while I was dating Jordan, and then another person from our high school went to Georgetown with me, and his wife did as well, and so we've all kept in touch. And so a year and a half ago, 2 years ago now, we were at one of the kids' bar mitzvahs, and we were sitting at the table talking, and I was like, I turned to my ex-boyfriend's friend and former roommate and his now wife, and I was like, I don't remember, how did you guys meet? And they're like, oh, well, Jordan was dating this girl and she introduced us. I was like, question? Like, wasn't I dating him? Okay, fine. You know, like, I was like, well, okay, fine, good. Glad we were having a good time. But they were both in the Jewish fraternity, whatever it was.
This is good.
Right? I was like, you guys know I was dating him then, right? And she even went so far as to say, no, not so-and-so, but so-and-so. I was like, wait, like, there was more than one, like, actual, I'm okay with it.
Okay, you're over it now.
Yeah, he's very rich and has not aged well, so.
Oh, great. I love it.
I know, right?
Yeah, love to hear it. Very rich is sort of code for probably not the best person.
Right.
Not universally, but usually, you know, it's, yeah.
Yeah, who's also in Wharton, if it helps to paint the picture.
Okay, I got the full picture now. Okay, great, yes.
So Justin, tell me, so you're working, which is amazing. Are there you're filming the last season?
Who knows?
Fine.
It is, to use the word again, it is maybe the penultimate season. My guess is we get one more, and then that'll be the final one. And then I will hopefully go on to write something that is not set in a big box store, because as fun as that is, it's just like you want to eventually write for new characters in a new setting and all that. But it's cool. Like this year we're tackling coronavirus, like in the show.
Awesome. Yeah.
It's like kind of a great opportunity to do it, because, you know, like I feel like outside of hospitals where sort of it's probably too grim of a picture to really get into it, like sort of a Target type store is kind of the perfect way to show how it's affected daily life in a way where it can still be funny. So,
yeah,
you know, we'll see. I think we've been doing some cool stuff, and, you know, I hope people like it. So.
Also, I was just envisioning a world of like Grey's Anatomy where they're all wearing masks and the only acting has to be done with their eyes. And that sounds even more dreadful than regular Grey's Anatomy, which I watch religiously.
Wow, still going on Grey's Anatomy.
I can't stop. Until she stops, I can't. Just end the fucking show.
It's like season 30 or something now.
I know, and the worst is when my teen patients will be like, yeah, I just got into Grey's Anatomy, or like I have other patients that have watched it like 8 times, and I'm like, stop fucking watching. It's the same thing. But
haven't they run out of like diseases? Like it's just like, this is great. We're doing lupus again. We're doing the lupus episode. Like I would imagine there's just so much repetition at this point.
I know, but with House, it also was like that. It was always SARS at the end. Like it was, I don't even know what SARS is, but it was always SARS, or like some sort of respiratory thing. And now I feel like
I was out on House when there was an episode of House where a guy's ball, his testicle exploded. And then I think it was revealed that it was like part of some dream sequence, but nonetheless, like it happened in the show, and I think that was where I was like, okay, like I think I've seen enough happen when testicles are just popping off and
like,
cold open.
What would Freud say about an exploding testicle? I want to wake him up from his dead and ask him, but
you cut out for a split second. So
sorry. I said, what would Freud say about an exploding testicle? And then it was my like wake him up and ask him what it was. But,
maybe nothing. Maybe he would surprise us and just be like, yeah, that actually doesn't have a deeper layer. It's
He'd be like, I'm going to go back to analyzing my daughter's sex dreams. I'll see you later. Exactly. What is it like? Is it any different working on the set with like?
Well, I fortunately haven't had to be on set yet. Like the way it works is like, you're sort of in charge of one episode or a couple episodes, but like the one that you like quote unquote write, because it's all collaborative, but
I know, yeah.
That's the one that you go on set for and sort of supervise. So I've written the 6th episode, which doesn't shoot till October. So
you're not going to go back to work for a while, I guess. Yeah.
I have a little while longer. We've been doing Zoom since June, and it's fucking weird. It's exhausting in a way that like it's hard to describe, but like an hour on Zoom feels like 4 hours in real life, and just like staring at 16 faces all at once, just your brain is not designed to do that. And
it's not. My son said to me today, he goes, my neck hurts. I was like, it's probably from school, like staring at a computer all the time, and not moving.
It's weird. And so I'm grateful for the human interaction, because it's like fun to see friends and just, kind of like joke around and be in a room, even if it's virtual. But it feels real bizarre, and it's not as fun as it normally would be. And it's still at the end of the day, like a pale substitute for actual human interaction. Yeah.
I agree. I am very conservative with my exposure and my children's exposure, obviously, and crazy, super crazy. But so I feel like I don't see people or speak to people, like I do, but only like this,
Yeah, I was pretty crazy early on. Right when it hit, I like had a sore throat for the first 2 weeks and was just like, constantly convinced that I had coronavirus. It was just like, I didn't go to work our last day of work just because I wasn't feeling well, and like panic was at like an 11 for everyone.
Right.
So, and then I think it was just allergies or something, but it scared the shit out of me. And so I was a hermit for a while. And then at a certain point I started branching out a little bit. Like I started doing some backyard hangs with friends that was distance, and doing walks and hikes and seeing people outside. It
was probably anxiety.
Yes. Yeah. It was probably, I mean, it's so easy to go to psychosomatic tents, especially like the second you start Googling anything about it. So
don't Google shit. Google shit. No, I mean, I did Google shit to see when my like scores will spike in New York, but
New York's sitting pretty now. I'd kill to be in New York. New York is the place to be.
It's got
LA is still a nightmare.
Is it? What's your percentage? Do you
I don't know. At a certain point, the numbers have just like been exactly the same for like 6 weeks now, and so it's always like in the range of like 1,000 to 1,200 new cases a day or something.
Yeah.
It's just like not going up or down, which maybe is good, but it's like it's stable, but it's still pretty.
That's not good. You've got like fire coming at you from one direction, and then right.
No, it is all hitting at once right now. I mean, to be in a pandemic, I mean, it's like crazy. Like I remember in, like April, like early stages of the pandemic, just being like, well, like I can't go to restaurants and movies and see people, but like at least I can like get in my car and go outside and go for walks and be out in the world. And then like the wildfires hit and you can't even do that. You can't even go outside because it smells like a campfire. Like I went to get my mail and like came back inside and just like smelled like a fucking brisket just because like there was just so much ash in the air. And so now I'm like, oh, like, well, at least like I have, you know, access to Netflix and Hulu and food and power. I feel like in like 3 months, I'm going to be like gnawing on like a rat. It's like, well, like, I'm grateful that I was able to like rip the fur off the rat in one piece. Like, that's like, you know,
our expectations are dropping. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I was like super, like I said, I just feel like I was in just constant, like I gotta make myself busy mode. And then now we're back to school mode. But you know what's weird is, okay, I don't remember ever hearing about the pandemic of 1918, like the Spanish flu. Like, really, do you? Because I had this conversation with my husband and I was like, I don't remember that being like a thing, you know?
I feel like very vaguely. I feel like it was like a question in like a review book on American history that like, you know,
like AP history. I got a 3. I got a 3, so it didn't count. Yeah, we didn't.
You got a 3?
Yeah. It's okay. I did fine in English. And
3 is a pass. A 3 will get you on to, you know.
Not at Georgetown, which I guess proves that Georgetown.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine. Old wounds of school pride, you know.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. So you switched from lawyer, who was just about to make the shitload of money, to jumping out the window into an unknown industry, which I think you're obviously very good at. And I think the best comics are smart and sarcastic and have this thing in them. And you don't fit the narcissistic lawyer thing so far.
No, I didn't. But thank you for saying so.
Oh, I say professionally. It's fine.
Okay. Yeah, you know, I was like a theater kid growing up and just like loved doing that. And I don't know. I feel like I started doing like law stuff in high school because we were like a public school, but we had like a law program. And I like got really into that and like moot court, like mock trial stuff.
Sure.
And it just like kind of made sense, like the theatrics of doing law and like arguing and debating and all that stuff. I was just like, yes, like sign me up for this. And when I got to law school, I just like very quickly was like, I don't know if I want to do this. I really was just miserable my first semester at law school.
It wasn't like Legally Blonde?
It wasn't. And I tried to do everything to make it so, but it just like, it wasn't, you know, like, it wasn't coming together in how I envisioned it. And so I started doing more of the theater stuff that I like used to do and miss. So like I auditioned for, there's this thing called like the HLS parody, which is like a musical comedy performance thing. Bless you.
Thank you. Sorry.
It's weird because you visually sneeze.
I know, but I
sound. So to someone listening to the podcast, it just looks like I just was able to sense that you sneezed.
Right.
Yeah,
but if they know me, they know that I automatically hold my nose, and I don't know why. It's just like a bad habit, and someone always tells me I'm going to die that way, but I'm not.
There are some podcast fans that are familiar with your sneezing style. Like, oh, okay, we know what happened there. There's no need to.
Maybe, okay. We'll see. But so tell me, so HLS stands for Harvard
Law School.
Yeah, but I feel like something better was coming before you bless you.
Oh yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. I went down a sneeze tangent. I did that, and you know, I auditioned for this thing, and I was the only guy who could competently follow choreography. Gotcha. So they put me in like 6 or 7 dance numbers in this thing. And I'm not like a good dancer, but like it's Harvard Law School. So like already
no one's a good dancer.
For that, and then like discount for the fact that just like, you know. So I was in all these dance numbers and it was so much fun. And I was doing that, and I tried out for my civil procedure professor did performance of The Crucible, and so I auditioned for that, and I got to be one of the, like, the scary kids of The Crucible, and it was great. And my parents were like, "What the fuck are you doing? Like, we sent you to law school, and you're doing all this theater." And I was like, "This is the only thing that's keeping me sane." And I don't know, I just kind of kept with it. And by the time I graduated, I just felt like maybe the law thing wasn't going to work out, and I kind of wanted to do writing and be creative again. And so I went to a firm. I practiced for 2.5 years, and I hated it. Like, I was like a real, like, husk of a human being.
What kind of law were you doing, by the way?
I did corporate litigation. So it's just like representing like huge clients, like, you know, like Wells Fargo and Airbus and IBM. And, you know.
I think I've seen a Netflix documentary on all the ones you just mentioned, by the way.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
So good job.
Yeah. And academically, I loved it. Like, I will still read like Supreme Court opinions when they come out. Like, I loved doing the research and writing memos. But I knew I always wanted to do this thing and do comedy writing. And I think for me, it was like, you know, I wrote this one motion to dismiss for failure for lack of standing. And the judge just thought it was so funny. He was just like, you gotta.
How is that funny? I mean, oh, were you fucking with me? Because I was
I'm fucking with you, yes.
I was like, I really want to read this motion. And I've read motions before, and I've never been moved. I went to Georgetown, so pretty much exclusively everyone I've dated for the last X amount of years has gone to law school. So I'm technically a lawyer by insemination, I think. So.
By insemination, that's the easiest route. I was a fool and went to law school. I would have taken the insemination route in a heartbeat.
Yeah, it's hands down the best. Like, technically, I qualify, I think.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. I at a certain point, what actually happened was, like, I had it in the back of my mind that I was going to quit, and then we were called in for this one huge healthcare case, and they brought us into a conference room, and they were like, "You guys are going to have no life for the next, like, you know, like." 3 to 6 months. Yeah, you're gonna be working weekends. You're gonna be working really late nights. It's gonna be like a huge slog. So, like, buckle up. And I literally, like, in that moment, at that second, I was like, "This is it. Like, I'm out." And so I, like, kind of just, like, sheepishly raised my hand. I was like, "Yeah, this all sounds great, but I don't know that I'm gonna be here for any of it." And everyone was like, "What?" But I hadn't told anyone I was leaving because I decided in that moment that I was leaving. So I came in the next day and told them that I was quitting. And it was after the 2008, like, you know, like, financial collapse.
Yeah, we bought a house during that financial collapse. And
oh, great.
Right before
Perfect,
it.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that.
It's okay.
Yeah.
We moved into a better house now. So.
Okay, great. It looks beautiful.
Thank you. You can't see anything.
It could use a little more artwork would be my one note if I was forced to say something. Okay, I didn't see the accountant's lamp in the background.
There's an accountant's lamp in the background. I love that lamp, but it broke. And then there's a roll top desk and a real Smith & Corona typewriter.
Oh my God.
I've always wanted those things. And so I bought them in, like, on this online auction and at the start of Corona. And then my husband had to go pick them up. And he was unhappy, but they're cool, and it makes me look all like professional writer-esque.
It's very cool. It looks like a timepiece. Like, it looks like it's like very, like, late 1800s.
Mm-hmm. See? It's fantastic. Yeah. But yes, I do art on the wall. So. Yeah.
I watched a lot of Antique Roadshow, so if you need an appraisal,
it's fine.
But, you know, if you overpay, yeah.
If your parents are into it, I highly recommend Ninja Auction something or other, because it's like all around New York. They're like, and you'll get to one, like, weird house where it, like, the guy was really into Disney or really into, like, you know, movies, and you'll have like 1,000 things of Mickey Mouse. So, but whatever. I'm not allowed to buy anything anymore. It's a rule. Which is fine, because what he doesn't know doesn't hurt him.
Is this a self-imposed rule, or?
No, I'm married. I don't impose any rules on myself.
Okay. Well, I didn't want to be sexist and be like, did your husband tell you couldn't buy anything? like, yeah, I just want
That's
to
not
clarify, but yeah,
sexist.
okay.
That's a woman's life. But yes. Yes, that is just the way we manage. And that's why we have separate bank accounts, women. But it's okay. Secret bank accounts where they don't know that you've yeah, where like you've accidentally bought the same book off Amazon 4 times and they don't know.
Oh, I've fully bought the same thing multiple. I think I have 3 meat thermometers at some like hidden around the apartment.
I did see your reverse steak and was very impressed with it, and it looked delicious. I stalked you. I stalk my guests. It's a rule. You give me your time, I give you my stalking. So,
it's 2012. You know, we love the likes. So
I know. I've liked a bunch of your stuff. I was like, he's gonna see it and freak out. It's weird. But I also did start following Jen Starsky after watching you. Statsky, thank you. Statsky. After watching you, yeah.
She is one of my closest friends. She is a delight. I love her. She is shooting a show now that she created and is show running with 2 other friends, and that is insane. Just like to be like actually like making something new right now is just wild and weird, and yeah. Especially because it's just like when you're working now and have all these decisions that have nothing to like, it's just sometimes it feels like I don't know, like the world isn't acknowledging that there's a pandemic going on, and
yes, it's really fucking frustrating, right?
Yeah, you feel kind of crazy. Like I'll talk to people sometimes, or I'll have like some kind of meeting where there's just like no like acknowledgement, or just like I don't know, just like someone is just acting very normal.
Yeah, that's not how we're acting now.
Like my friend, you should be descending into madness at least a little bit.
Come join me. Like, let's. Yeah, there's this mom that I follow on Twitter, and I don't even remember who it was, and she was like, she made some comment about like when you're yelling at your kids in public, and I was like, we go into public now?
No.
That's something we're doing? That's not something. My kids aren't coming into a store with me. I don't.
Especially on Instagram, like I have like. There are some friends, and they're more like acquaintances, like from high school and stuff. But like you see people where like you would never be able to tell that there was a pandemic going on just looking at like their life, like their feed. And obviously it's like manicured and whatever, but still like it's crazy. My friend, there's like all these photos of like water skiing, taking the kids for ice cream and going on vacation. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like where, like are you getting just like IV bags of like, like the antibody just like
right.
shipped in? Like
I don't understand it. There's, at least I respect when there's like a mask in there, but that also freaks me out because I'm like,
toss in a mask. Just let it, just let us know. Give us a reminder that it's weird,
It's so weird. And then I was researching the 1918 pandemic this morning because I was like, why don't I know more? And I feel like they did a better job in 1918 than we're doing now.
Well, some cities did. I don't know.
Not Philadelphia. Not Philadelphia.
Yes, Philadelphia. That is like so
I know
that Philadelphia is the cautionary tale.
It was like 32,000. I remember this. I just read it. It's probably still in a tab on my phone. Yeah. Philadelphia did not. Yeah.
And we have our version of the Philadelphia parade of 1918, which is like we had the Sturgis motorcycle rally where like they traced like I forget what it was, but it was like 19% of all coronavirus cases in August stemmed from that one event in Sturgis.
Right. But what's fun to do is if you look up like 4th of July or Labor Day and then you go forward 2 weeks and you're like, there we go. It's fun to.
I know. Like we just had Labor Day and I am I hope that doesn't happen, but I'm sure
it's going to. And like our school just started last week, so 2 weeks from now I should see a whole bunch of shit pop up. And
well, I was actually away this Labor Day. I went to Carpinteria, which is like a little coastal town, just like I don't know, Santa Barbara?
But this sounds like you're living a non-corona life and I don't like it.
Well, I every like 2 months, I need to get out of Dodge or I feel like I'll just lose my mind. And so I booked an Airbnb like a couple months ago, just knowing like I just want to get out of my place and be in a new setting.
Yeah, the cool kids are doing that. I know. That's what I hear.
It's nice. It feels safe. Like, you know, like I get there, I wipe everything down. I'm very careful. Like, is like letting, I don't know, they used to, I don't know if they still have it. They were like airing places out. Like they were like having like 24-hour like waiting periods in between like people checking out and checking in.
That's good.
I don't know. It seems okay. I don't think I got the virus, but I did get pink eye, and so it is possible that the pink eye is from the Airbnb. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how much longer. I mean, I know that coronavirus can stay on salmon, frozen salmon, for 9 days, thanks to the useless information studies we're doing now. But I don't know about how long. Yeah, it was a real thing. I stalked it. I'm stalking.
Sure.
But
salmon, ideally. So.
Right, but it's interesting because salmon is good. And I was reading this thinking, I haven't had salmon in a while. Like, it should have coronavirus though. But I don't know how long the pink eye, like germ disease, whatever it is, lasts.
Well, you know, it really depends on. I've read so much about pink eye in the last week, and I have no answers. I'm on antibiotic drops for it now, which are supposed to knock it out in like a couple of days, and they haven't done that. And so I was like, maybe it's viral, but like I haven't been seeing people, so I don't know how the hell I would have gotten viral conjunctivitis unless it was like maybe on the pillow or something. But I'm sure they washed the sheets. I don't know how I got this, and it's very frustrating. I did read that like 1 to 3% of COVID patients get pink eye, and I don't think it's that. It was enough to send me into a full tailspin this morning. Like,
that's why I'm laughing. I know that's the anxiety. I did not read that, but that's okay. I did read a shocking study that when you go to restaurants, you're more likely to get COVID, which was completely unexpected, obviously, to all of us.
I know. That. You know, it's hard. My family has been eating out. I mean, like my food is a big obsession with my family. My bar mitzvah theme was restaurants when I was a 13-year-old kid. It's just like, it has been a real fixture of our lives. And so not surprisingly, they are going out to eat a lot, always outdoors on Long Island. But it does concern me. I'm just constantly getting pictures of like an appetizer and like, or like a, you know, like a glass of wine, just like out on a veranda or something. And I'm just like, are you guys cooking at all? Like, I don't understand. They're just always eating out. And I know it's outdoors and it's obviously safer than dining indoors, but it has me nervous just because, you know, my parents are, you know, a little older, and my sister has 2 kids. And I would prefer if they took in a little bit more. But
right. And also, if you've ever worked in a restaurant, you understand that, like, even before Corona, like things weren't as hygienic as we would all like to believe. So
sure, it's awful, and it's like such a shame for so many of these like servers who like obviously like need the work, but like are putting themselves at huge risk for people who just like, you know, need their Bloody Marys on Sunday. And
you can make a Bloody Mary at home. It's a thing. I've done it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bummer. And also like a lot of my favorite places have started closing here. I'm sure in New York it's been the same thing, and it's only going to continue to happen just because, you know, like you already have razor thin margins with restaurants to begin with, and then once you throw this in, it's just not tenable. And so
no, it's not. And there's this whole argument with whether or not we reopen for the economy or for our well-being, you know, for the right reasons and whatnot. But I mean, if you believe in this thing called science, it's pretty clear that we're probably only going to be open for so long.
You know, I've heard of it, and I don't want to fully dismiss science, but I choose to get most of my information from unsourced Facebook memes.
No, that's good. That's good.
I find it's just better. I just, you know, like my high school acquaintance's cousin really just seems to like have the COVID thing down. And
right.
So I'm just trusting her for everything now.
Right. I finally turned to Facebook to find out if I should give my 11, almost 12-year-old son an Instagram account. And the biggest problem with that is what do I talk about on Instagram? It's them. So like,
Yeah.
I only give it to you if we can figure out how to block you. And then I was like, I don't know. And so so far we're on pause, but then I took a poll on Instagram or on Facebook, and people think very strongly that I should and should not give him an Instagram account. So
that's fair. This is so fascinating because I have, like a lot of my friends are comedy writers, and they're kind of like snarky, sarcastic assholes, and they're constantly bagging on their children, which is great. But I like do wonder at one point you stop just because the kids are kind of like hip to you shitting on them. And it just, I don't know. Like,
I don't think you do, because this is what people make their like you got on this fucking soapbox, you stay on that soapbox, and
yeah,
also they don't get better. Like, I don't think they get better. My kids were trying to drown each other in our pool for like 30 minutes.
Wow, humble brag that you got that pool. Way to bury the lead there. But
I got a nice house. We moved into the nice part of town. Right before the economy tanked again. Note to self: if Lindsay buys a new house, know that shit's gonna go down soon after. I never put that together. Justin, do we have a release date yet for this next season of Superstore? I read sometime in October, but I'm blanking on it now.
I think that's right. I should know this.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot, and I can't remember what I've read, but I wanted to be able to say,
If you Google it, it's online. But I think it's either like the last one. It sounds so lazy. I'm gonna
fucking Google it right now. Hold on. I can do this. We're both sitting at computers.
Right.
When does Superstore return? I think I just said Superstore. No, it doesn't look like anyone.
November? No. The first result said November 30th, 2015. That's wrong.
Yes, that's not right. Well, the production. Okay, multiple insiders say that should production resume mid-May. Premiere week starting September 21st. So we're going to assume that didn't happen because we were all in lockdown. I think I read sometime in October, but I'm
seeing October 22nd. That's what's showing up for me.
I feel like you should know more about this than you do. I feel like you're being kind of lazy and not committed to your current job.
If you're listening, write it down in light pencil.
Very light pencil.
And maybe do like a backup Google search just in case.
Like set your DVR now for when new episodes air, so we don't have to think about it. Because Justin doesn't know. And people should follow you on Twitter. By the way, I did enjoy the 2014 conversation of number of Twitter followers, because that again, this is you and Jen Statsky from Stalking. Only old stuff out there. Tough to stop.
To be the only person in the world who has watched.
I watched your stand-up.
I watched with Scott Rogowski in the lab.
I also watched your stand-up.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Also, there's a race car driver with your name, and then like a sort of dickhead 14-year-old kid out there as well.
I didn't know there were. I knew there was one other Justin James. Yeah. And he is a race car driver.
Is he like well-known and I'm just dumb? Because I'm fine with that.
I follow a lot of race car driving, and so
I'm shaking my head because I'm like, I don't believe that. No, you're not.
He could be the number 2 race car driver in the world, and I wouldn't know.
I know that there's a guy named. Nope, I don't think I can name one. So we're good. Mario fuck it, I don't know. But I did watch that movie about race car driving. So
Ford versus Ferrari.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I've seen it. Who wins?
I don't. Ford, obviously.
Brian Ferrari. Okay.
No, Ferrari's the bad guy.
Oh, okay.
Ford wins. It's like an American. It's a great American tale. It's like the next Forrest Gump, but with less running.
I'll check it out. I'm running out of movies. I'll watch anything. Just name anything, and I will watch it at this point.
I watched Captured on Netflix, and it's the first episode is fantastic. It's about the prison riot of random state. Hold on.
You're Googling again. There's so much
Lucasville.
Googling in this podcast.
About the Lucasville prison riots.
Okay.
In Dayton, Ohio, because I looked it up afterwards for more information, and so it's still, but I haven't read it because I don't do that. I just Google. I have ADD, so I get very distracted. Like research something and walk away. But yes.
Edit out the Googling silences in the podcast, or you leave those.
I cannot fucking edit. I can't. I did it, and then no, unless you like look back and go, I wish I wouldn't have said that. And then I'm like, oh, so that'll be the intro. No, just kidding. But then I would.
Sure. Yeah.
Justin, thank you. Okay. So where should we follow you on Netflix? That would be good too. I'd watch your Netflix show. You're on Instagram at Justin Shanes, correct?
Yes. Instagram,
Twitter. You did the smart thing and used like just your name. Yeah.
I've been able to get that name. I've beat the other Justin Shanes every time, but I'm nervous that the next big social media platform, like he gets there first, and I have to be like Justin Shanes 1 or the real Justin Shanes or something.
That 14-year-old douchebag is like, if you look for him, he's calling people.
14. He's got to be tech savvy. He probably is able to hack the system and do some crazy shit.
He's got better quality than your first stand-up thing that people can Google on.
He's got a better life just all around. He's
14. What do you know? He's 14 and doesn't play the saxophone. And he's like this, his girlfriend was like, look at my boyfriend prank calling people.
This is the last thing I'll say, which is that things lately with the wildfires have gotten so dark that I've been Googling vintage saxophones, like late 1950s Selmers, potentially buy just to have a good saxophone, because I have like this old school saxophone. It's like a piece of shit.
I never returned it and owed them like $1 million.
Yeah. So I've been looking up vintage saxophones. That's kind of where I'm at. So if you can
put it on my roll top desk with my typewriter.
Yeah. I'll come over one day and I'll play. And
that would be fantastic. Next time you're in New York, come on over. You can go in the pool. And
I love it.
Thank you.